Welcome. This is Politalks, our local community political gabfest. Politalks can be heard Monday at 5 p.m. and Tuesday at 9 p.m. If you have comments or questions, write us at Politalks, 1403 Washington Road, Kenosha, Wisconsin, zip 53140. I'm your host, John Michalski, and away we go. Hey, good evening again, Kenosha. Welcome to our latest rendition of Politalks, our little local political gabfest.
Can we call it latest and greatest? Because last week you did that, and Anthony and Ray were here, and we weren't, and so...
Well, we don't know that you're going to be better.
But we want the same benefit.
Maybe
at the end, thank you for being at the.
Maybe at the end of this show we'll know if you guys did better than Anthony and Ray.
Well, I will never do better than Anthony.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know that.
He's on the board and you're not, so you got to bow to him a little.
Anyway, I'm Michalski. I'm your host and moderator, and to my far right we have
Matt Augustine, Chairman, Republican Party, Kenosha County.
And Ray Dean Edenhofer, board member for Kenosha County, and I work on the Diversity and Action Committee for them. And I'm also the coordinator for 912 Patriots.
Okay, and to my left we have.
And I'm Steve Brown, and I work at WGTD Public Radio, which is part of Gateway Technical College. Also, I teach at Northeastern Illinois University, where I teach school law and educational research.
Yes, and he also ran for public office as a Democrat, so he's kind of a little left of center. I'm not as left of center as
actually,
I am.
I'm a little more. I'm actually right of center as a Democrat.
Well, as a Democrat, but still. Anyway, I'm your host and moderator, Rami Michalski. I don't belong to any party. I have no party affiliation. I am alderman for the 3rd District, and I'm doing my best. And speaking of being you get your property tax bills today? I think most of us did. If you haven't, you can find it online. Let me ask you, does that make you angry? Because if it doesn't, something's wrong. Because it should make you angry.
I'm just angry at the unified bill.
Well, that's
inexcusable.
That's the number one group.
I know the city did the best they could, and I know the county did the best they could. But the unified kind of just does what they want.
Well...
How much was the increase? I mean, as far as percentage?
I'd have to look. I just looked at the total bill, but 8% increase is a lot for anything. And at this time in this country, in this state, it's a lot. Mm-hmm. Especially when you see the city pinching pennies in the county, and the articles in the paper what they're due to save money, and Unified says, "Well, we'll just do what we want. It's for the children."
And they get it.
And they get it.
Do you know how much yours went up?
I think mine did got more than $100.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Mine went up 11%.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
See, this is why I didn't open mine before I came, because I could be overly upset walking in.
Yeah, mine went up between $600 and $700.
Mine didn't go up that much, but I'll have to look at it cllose. I just looked at the total amount because I got to pay it out over 3 payments.
We were discussing before the curtain went up the lights went on, the camera went on. Basically, we're discussing, when property values are decreasing, how come my taxes went up? And it's a very simple reason. Each branch of government, including Gateway, Kenosha Unified,
City
and the county, all work on their budget, and then they establish a budget, and that's how much money they plan on having to spend for the coming year. And then your property tax bill is apportioned a certain percentage, a certain amount of that, and they try to apportion it as fairly as they can. But, in certain neighborhoods, property values are more depressed than in other neighborhoods. So in certain neighborhoods, people are going to say, well, mine hasn't gone up at all, or very little. In other neighborhoods, they've gone up considerably. It depends on not how much the property values have gone up, but how little or how much they have gone down. So you're going to, even though the value in your house, if you try to sell it, might not be as much as it was 3 years ago or 4 years ago, it's still a proportionate thing. And so,
but I wonder how many people actually take advantage of the opportunity of going to the adjustment board in their community. Because I live out in Salem. So if someone gets their tax bill, I got mine today, and mine was like $35 or $40 more than last year. But the value of my house dropped by $8,000 or whatever it was. But if it was a huge difference in my taxes, I mean, if the taxes had gone up, say, as yours did, how many, what percentage did you say?
11%.
If that had happened with me, you know, I would go to the adjustment board, and which they have in Salem, and all communities have them. But I just wonder how many people actually do that, actually have the guts to do it.
I did that one year. I was so angry because I got a Cape Cod down the block. There's a brick Cape Cod. Well, they appraised my house the same as the brick Cape Cod. And I was mad. So the guy came over and actually looked. And I says, how can you compare this to that one? Look at the difference. I mean, it's all brick. And he just didn't quit, just knocked it down right away. That's when they'd come out to the house.
Yeah.
And that was nice. That's the only one I've ever
have
done.
a problem. See, mine is up, but I have a problem. The problem is being on the city council. If I get my tax bill lowered, it might appear
someone might.
You know, it's like I can't even. You have to be like Caesar's wife, proverbially. You have to not only be above reproach, you have to appear to be above.
Well,
reproach.
but that doesn't mean though that you lose your right to
I understand.
appeal.
Yeah, it could be a chance to be an education to the people and say, this is your right. I'm exercising it, and why aren't you?
Yeah. And you know something?
Sure.
I recommend anybody. But I'm going to send out a clarion call right now. We're going to have a school board election this spring. If you are not a teacher or related to a teacher, and you have concerns about, you know, the Kenosha Unified, please step up and run. You know, it's absolutely unconscionable that only 2 people on the school board can even negotiate the contract, because the rest of the board is all connected directly or to Kenosha Unified. They're retired, they're teachers. I'm sure that a lot of people.
It's been that way forever.
Teachers
The registration papers have to be in by January 3rd, I believe, is it?
4th.
Yeah, January 4th.
So please
consider it and do it.
Please consider it. You know, I realize, you know, you're going to be a hero to a lot of people if you're not a teacher and you run for office. And this is not to say that the teachers are bad people that have on the school board.
Just a conflict.
It's a conflict of interest.
It is a conflict of interest, and I think this is a problem. Just having a school board that is so hampered in negotiating contracts. And Unified School District has been, as you said, the worst as far as...
It's been forever.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is the worst, and I don't necessarily think that it's the teachers that are the principal cause of the problem. I think, you know, there are so many administrative things here and there. I mean, it's not the bricks and mortar, and it's not the teachers that really are the problem, because I think most people recognize the teachers do a difficult job, and they deserve to be properly recompensed. But at the same time, everybody else is taking a slam, and I don't know. I'm not saying that the teachers were unfairly recompensed, but I'm going to say right now that, you know, in this economic time,
yes,
it deserves scrutiny. And right now, you only have 2 members of the school board that can scrutinize. I'm sorry, this is wrong.
You know, let me go back to your comment about this clarion call. You know, those of us who have run for office, and I just got through running for office for the state assembly, and after the election, and even during the election, there were people who said to me, you know, who would come up to me and thank me for running, or congratulate me afterwards for running and for stepping forward. And you know what? You know, regardless of my race and the fact that I lost, and I'm disappointed and all that, but you know what? When people say that to me now, or they said it to me then, you know, I've thought about that, and I think what you just said is so important, that I think that people who have an interest in our government and who have an interest in our way of life, you know, it's a big step to take that step to say, I'm going to run for office, I'm going to put my name on the ballot, and you know, it's. And whether it's school board or city council or county board or state assembly or running for governor or Congress or whatever the office would be. But I think more people need to think about stepping forward and trying to make a difference. And, you know, we all have the right to complain.
Absolutely.
About things, and that's our right, you know, as, you know, I mean...
And you purchase your complaining license by voting.
That's right, absolutely.
That's when you have the right to vote.
But
Right.
I honestly think more people should seriously consider, I know it's a scary thing, I mean, and nobody likes rejection.
But you know what? A lot of times you run, people still remember when I ran 13 years ago.
And you should consider it again.
Nope, I've got enough to do. But, you know, even if you run and you lose, or in your primary and you lose a primary, your ideas come out, other people can use them.
Yes.
And it's always beneficial.
Yes.
Just to get your views out.
And another thing is, some people who do get elected also say, well, we're not going to mention the county board per se, but you know, if you're going after certain people, the workers, and saying, you know, and you're going after their benefit package, but you're a part-time worker and you're voting yourself a big insurance package, and you're hanging on to it.
Conflict of interest.
And it just strikes me as, you know, a little hypocritical.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I mean, why go after the workers who are actually working full-time and say, well, you know, they got to pay, and these are voting themselves, not all. Some of them have been, you know, Ron Frederick.
Well, it was
my
a
hats off to him.
13-13 tie, wasn't it,
Yeah.
on the county board? What's going to happen if Jim Cruiser says, you know what, we're going to do away with all the insurance?
Well, they have to override
Well,
them. They have to two-thirds majority, right? So he might just do that. We'll
And
see
you know,
what happens.
and I think the issue with those, you know, and maybe some of the members of the county board who voted against the proposal to increase the salary voted against it because they didn't want to vote for a salary increase because of the economy the way it is. But you know what? This issue with the health insurance, I mean, that's a big issue. And there were people who ran their campaigns on that.
Yeah.
And that. My supervisor is Mike Underhill, and he feels very strongly about that. And I have a lot of respect for Mike.
Well, I like Mike. I know him well.
And he voted against the proposal to. He voted for the increase in the
Premiums?
No, the increase in the salary versus having the health insurance.
Well, he was half right.
Well, he's got pretty good insurance though too.
Yeah.
Well, but you know what? You know, but I asked him that. He said even if he didn't have that, he still would have voted the way he did.
Well, he was half wrong because, let's face it, at least in the city, how many people, I mean, you live out in the county, so you have more direct contact with your county board members. But
we don't.
In the city, if somebody needs something, do they call their county board supervisor?
No.
They're aldermen.
They always call their
I've
alderman.
called mine once years ago when Mark Midori and got the 1991 sewer pack plan. He says, you can have it, man. I'm not going to read it. And that's all. Or I just call them to chat.
You know,
but
and,
you never
and
need
they
them.
do already get paid considerably more than the people on the city council.
Yes.
By the way, do you get a? You've been on the council for how long now?
Since last April.
Since last April, and do you get a lot of calls?
Yes.
One in particular.
Has that surprised you?
No, not at all.
Emails too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Consistent.
I get emails and calls. Emails are actually easier because I can sometimes forward the email to the proper department and with a comment, etc., or respond via email. It's a lot easier than trying to get somebody at home. There are certain parcels that, you know, people complain about. One of the biggest ones that I get all the time consistently is the abandoned gas station on 75th and 7th.
Yeah.
I mean, that just has been, I was after neighborhood inspections to get that thing painted over. It got tagged with gang graffiti, and then the amount of graffiti just kept on growing. And it took a while because they have to give the owner an opportunity, but the place is in foreclosure. And the guy who owns it, I won't mention his name, but the guy who owns it has been, you know, trying to do all kinds of underhanded things to try to hang on to it. So who's responsible? Well, ultimately,
He is.
He is, or whoever buys it. You know, it's going to be a lien on the taxes. But I got neighborhood inspections to get. They got a contract. They actually contracted out. They got somebody to come in and paint over the graffiti because graffiti attracts graffiti, and they're breaking.
Well, that's been run down for a long time. It looks pretty bad.
Well, it's getting blighted. I'd like to see